Alright y'all, I'm fixing to put out the first mock scrape of the year. I'm just going to walk you through kind of what we got going on. So we've got our food plot down here in this little bottom right here. It's 10 days old, so it's starting to turn green, starting to come up. And it rolls around this little thick spot right here, and it grows up there on top of the hill. We've got a double chain on set right up there. And last year, we had a pretty good buck making a scrape right here on the bottom of this little hillside right here. So we're going to go in and lay down a mock scrape and see if we can't get him to take it over. I'm going to use this little tool here to break the ground up real good and really get through the vegetation and get down in it pretty deep. So you can see I worked the ground up pretty good. I've got it down to pretty much just bare dirt. There's a couple little weeds here and there. You got a nice licking branch here. We're going to hang our camera on that tree right there. Alright, so now the last step is, a lot of people don't use lure, I guess you should say. Some people do. We prefer scent balls. This is pretty much scent balls with dominant buck urine in it. And so right now we're only going to put buck urine in it just to try to catch anything that's coming off of this hill here, or anything that's feeding in the bottom of our food plot, catch his attention and get him to come investigate this. Sometime around late October, early November, we'll come back in and we'll put in some She Ready. It is doe and estrus, and hopefully some bucks have already taken this over, and that'll get them in here pretty regular. But for right now, we're going to get some of this in here and go ahead and get out of here. So we'll take a few balls and just sprinkle them down in there. Maybe 10 to 15 balls in there. You got your camera there. And that's pretty much how we do a mock scrape. Alright, so we're getting ready to lay down number 2. Gonna kind of walk you through what we got right here. There's another 2 persimmon trees right here that are loaded. These deer can actually almost eat them from the ground off the branch. All this field right here is growed up. It's pretty much like a big bedding area, more or less. It's probably 20 acres or so. Mock scrape number 1 is straight through here down into the bottom down there on the edge of the food plot. So this is going to be number 2. These deer may be feeding on these persimmons, and what we're thinking is they're passing right through here on top of this little ridge. You can see another little bottom down there. They just cut that for hay. And there's a little creek that runs right down through here. And actually, I was in here last week. I drove through here just to see. And as you can tell, right here is a very fresh rub. This is really new. This was not here last weekend. Last year, you can see a rub there, 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 and there. Last year there was lots of rubs in this little bitty patch. I mean, you can see how big this patch is. Right there's the edge of the field. It's very, very small. And then you got the persimmon trees there. So with that new rub being in here, I'm going to hang this camera and I'm going to make mock scrape number 2 in here. And all I'm trying to do is create a scrape line from the food source down there. My food plot is number 1. This is going to be number 2 right here. And we'll go somewhere over there on that edge of the field, and we'll make number 3, and we'll go up and we'll make number 4. Pretty much what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to have a scrape on all sides of this bedding area of the field. And hopefully when a buck goes to cruising, he starts making this his territory, he's going to start to check these scrapes and make a rub line, and we're going to be able to pick up on it. So hopefully we'll have pictures of whatever made that rub right there sometime soon. Alright, so we've got this really fresh rub right here. We've got a bunch of old rubs in here, so there was a buck in here last year. We're going to use the small cedar tree here for scrape number 2. That's where I'm going to make it right there. We've got a trail camera right there. So pretty much we're hoping that that trail camera will catch anything that checks this scrape, whatever buck made that rub, hopefully the same buck that was making all those rubs last year, and then also anything that's cruising this bottom side of this big growed up field and feeding on those persimmon trees. So I'm gonna get my little tool. I'm gonna get some scent balls with dominant buck urine, and we're gonna get this scrape worked up. Alright, so we've got number 2 worked up how we want it. I'm gonna take some buck nuggets from scent balls. Like I said, we usually only use maybe 10 or 15 balls. Sprinkle down in there. Just kind of cover up the whole scrape a little bit. And we've already got our camera set up and cut on. So we'll get out of here. And it may be a week or 2 before we're back in here. I'm not really sure. We've got some plans to go hunt some public ground at some point coming up. So I'm really anxious to see if anything will work that scrape and make some more rubs up in here. So we're fixing to continue on around this big growed up field that's here behind me. We're going to continue around on the back side, way back there. There's lots of big oak trees that are loaded with acorns. So we'll see what the sign looks like when we get back there. Alright, so I'm getting ready to lay down mock scrape number 3. The field that we've been laying them out on is over there. All this is a little road that gets you from that field to this growed up field. And as you can see back here behind me, we have soybeans. Soybeans are fixing to brown up pretty quick, so we shouldn't worry about the deer feeding on there as much. But like I said, we're just trying to establish a scrape line as far as around where we think these deer may be bedded. So I'm gonna go ahead. I've already got my camera in place on this one, so it's set up. All I have to do is turn it on. But we're gonna go ahead and throw a mock scrape under this cedar tree right here in the middle of this pass through right here, from this growed up field to that growed up field, and we'll see what happens. Alright, that one right there is in. Got a nice looking branch here on the cedar and camera there. So once again, we're using the same thing. Pretty much just trying to make any buck that thinks this area is his think that there is another buck trying to come in and take over his area. That's why we're using another buck urine. Throw about 10 to 15 balls down. And all we have to do is cut the camera on. And it's ready to roll.